Hi guys, this is Meenu. Welcome back to my channel Story Tale. Today I'm really excited to talk about Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. This is again one of those books which I'm gonna read as a part of my A to Z challenge, and this again starts with U, which is again a very difficult alphabet to find books, and I've really loved Colleen Hoover lately, so of course I was really excited to read this one, and like always I am not disappointed. I love Colleen Hoover. I just love her writing. And Ugly Love, I think by far is my most favorite book. Let's talk a little bit about the premise. The story is about Tate and Miles. Tate is a nurse and she has moved in with her brother in his apartment, and across her lives Miles, who is the neighbor and also is the best friend of her brother. When they first met, they did not actually start on a right foot, but eventually they started to realize that both of them have this amazing attraction between each other. So of course they wanted something more. But Miles, even though he seems like a normal guy, but he's not. He's a very sad person and he is hiding a very big past. And he's not hiding because he just want to hide something. He's hiding because it is very much painful for him to talk about it. And that is why when Miles and Tate decide to take their attraction a little further, they decided upon two main rules. One, they're not going to talk about their future, and they're not going to ask about Miles' past. That is the basic two rules, and that they have to maintain. So everything started very well. They have this attraction, they have a lot of sex, and it's like a friends with benefit kind of a sort of situation. Everything was going well at the start, but of course, like all the other books, they are going to fall in love. Something's going to happen. Something happens. Tate falls very much hard for Miles, but she cannot tell him that. There's a lot of things that she feels. She has been attracted to him, or she has been in love with him since the moment she met him, and Miles even never accept, but he did feel the same thing. Tate tries very hard to not let it be a problem, not let her feelings come in the way, but whenever they have sex and then Miles, he just starts acting cold after they have sex, and she also does not sleep with him on the same bed. So those little things kind of start to bothering her. So eventually it comes to a place where it all explodes, and it does explode, and that whole exploding part is written beautifully because it all happens between sex or after sex, and everything's just very sexy. When you read it, and of course you might have read it. This book came a long time ago, a very long time ago, so of course you have read it. Still, I'm not gonna give any spoilers because I'm just not gonna do that, because I do not know. I do not want to give spoiler because this is such an amazing book and I want everyone to enjoy it. That is why I'm not going to talk about spoilers. We get two point of view in this book, of course, of Miles and Tate, but Miles, we do not get a point of view in the present. We get his point of view from the past when he was in love with this other girl, Rachel. He was crazily in love with them, and they of course had a little bit of obstacle in their love story, but they eventually come good at the end of it. But whatever happens between them that actually kind of hurt him is the main conflict in this book. And when you'll read it, it is actually gonna break your heart because it is so heart-wrenching. The whole scene, everything that was written, and the cover of the book will actually make sense to you when you read that, because it does have that reference. You're not gonna get it. I did not get it when I started it, but when I read that part, I was like, oh, okay, fine, that is why the cover. So when you'll know. But it is such a beautifully written story. Each and every character in this book works for me, except for maybe the neighbor. He was a little bit cliche. That old guy, I do not remember his name, sorry. But that was a very cliche part. There's this third person who gives life advice and everything. That I have never met such person, to be honest, in my whole life, who just is there to give you this kind of life lessons and everything. I've never met such person. Only characters in these kind of books finds them. But anyway, that is the only cliche part in this book. But other than that, it was a very nice book. This book may for you feels like, oh, this is again a friends to benefit kind of story. What is new about that? It is not the same book. It is totally different because it is going to play with your emotions. There are so many things that happens in this book, and especially the sex scenes. I think that is one of the steamiest book that I've read, and it is not too crude or not too graphic. I mean, it is a little bit explicit, I'm not gonna lie. It does dive a little bit deeper than I've actually read in previous Colleen Hoover books. But anyway, it is not cheap, it is not done in a very bad way, and this book is not actually written as a smut. This is not a smut, but it does have a lot of sex scenes, and there are certain scenes which are done in between sex, and but those are very emotional scenes, especially when there's this exploding scene where Tate actually explodes, where she totally gives up on Miles, she totally gives up on their relationship. So all of those scenes are written very well, and it is actually happening with the sex, so like it syncs very well. When you read it, you'll know it is written beautifully, and I was never actually expecting that. I did not expect this book to be so sexy and so steamy, but it was, and I loved it. I loved that it had this perfect balance of emotion, of crying, and of course of sex. It has everything, and the romance was beautiful too. We get 2 romance in this book, which is a bonus, and both of those romances actually work for me because I loved all the characters. The ending was also very beautifully done. Everything in this book was beautifully done. I do not think I have any complaint with this one. I did cry because there was this very, very sad scene. Like, when you'll know about Miles' past, you'll understand why is he the way he is. Like the title suggests, it is an ugly love. When your love ends in a very ugly way, like a very ugly way, you're gonna feel that way. It's been 6 years, and of course he's not over it. Many people on the internet are saying that if he would have gone to therapy, then many problems would have been solved. If he would have gone to therapy, we would not have any kind of a book, would we? We would not have the story. And there are many times when people are lonely, because he is very lonely in this book. He does not want to get better because he does not want to forgive himself for whatever happened. Maybe that could be the reason why he did not go to therapy. I do not know. I'm not an expert when it comes to therapy and everything. I'm not an expert when it comes to mental health, so I'm not going to comment about that much. Maybe this could have been, or maybe there could have been no reason. Maybe Colleen Hoover just wanted to write a story and she gave us a story. That could be as simple as that. If he would have gone to therapy, we would not have had this beautifully written book. So I do not mind that he did not go to therapy. But anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. This is, I think, my favorite Colleen Hoover books of all time, if I'm not wrong. The only book that did not actually meet Colleen Hoover's standard was the book Lala, and that was the first book that I read of her. So maybe I should not have started with that one, because after that, whatever books that I think I have read 3 books of her, Reminders of Him, Ugly Love, and I've read one more book, which was recently. What was it? November 9. So I read all these 3 books and I really loved it, each and every book. I've still not started It Ends With Us, and I'm gonna do it next year, not this year because I do not have time this year, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love it because this is again one of the most popular books of Colleen Hoover and everyone loves it. And I think there's this second part also coming. It starts with us, so of course I'm gonna have to read both of these books together, and of course I'm gonna read it, but next year. For me, this book is a 5-star read because I could not find any fault with this one. I loved it. I really loved each and every moment of it. I could not put it down. I loved Tate. I loved Miles. I loved their relationship. I loved their complications. I loved Rachel. I loved what happened at the end. I really loved the beautiful ending and everything. It was just beautifully done, and I loved every bit of it. Do let me know in the comments down below which one of Colleen Hoover's book is your favorite. I would love to know that one, and which other book that I should read, except for, you know, It Starts With Us and It Ends With Us. I'm gonna read those books anyway, but other than that, which book do you think I should read next of Colleen Hoover? And of course, don't forget to subscribe if you like this video and if you want to see more of my future videos. I will see you next time. Have a great day.